Hello sports fans, welcome to the MVP Sports Studio tutorial for football template number 10. At MVP, our goal is to provide you with the professional templates, tutorials, and tools you need to celebrate the achievements of your MVP. I'm Steve Fuller and I am excited to bring you this tutorial. Let's get prepared. You will need the typeface Ponter, P-O-N-T-E-R, from dafont.com added to your system fonts. This is a totally free font. You should have an image of your athlete and logo with the background removed. Now, we have tutorials that will walk you through the process so that if you don't have that prepared, please check those out first. Now, if you've got those already, we can get started. As we look at Photoshop, you will see that I have my template up right here. But let's look above and look at these tabs. I've got my football template, number 10. I've got a red cougar. This is my logo that I'm going to switch out. And I've got my athlete. Okay, so my athlete is prepped. His background has been removed. My logo is prepped. The background has been removed. And I've got my template. All right. Now the next thing I want to make sure that I've got going is that the layer tab is selected and I can see all of my layers. I also want to make sure that my color tab has been selected and I can see all of the different ways to select color. Okay, great. Now I have my zoom tool selected. That's down here at the bottom. You'll make sure, just click on that. And if I want to zoom in, all I'm going to need to do now is click a few times. We're going to be starting up here at the top. So let's click a few times, and I'm just using the scroll wheel right now, and we'll get a little close. That got a little closer than I wanted. So all we need to do is hit down Alt or Option, depending on if you're using a Mac or a PC. And that gives me my little negative sign inside there, and I'm good. I'm going to use the scroll wheel to bring this down into the middle. First thing I'm going to look at in my layer window is there'll be a layer called Type Group Change All. And yours may or may not be open. It may be closed like this. Just click on it if you need to so that you see all of the 4 type layers. First one we'll work on is the location line. All right, so all we need to do is go over to the Type tool, click on the T, and then we're going to want to select this Northfield Varsity Football. Let's double check that it's selected in our layers, and it is. And now we want to select this. Sometimes when you're working with type, if you don't select it right inside this area or within its the area right around it, you can end up creating another line of type. So if that happens to you and you click in the wrong spot and you get something like this, don't panic, don't worry, it's okay. Happens to everybody. What I recommend you do is just go over and select your Move tool so that you get out of the Type tool. Come to your layer and you're going to click and drag on that errant layer. Bring it down to the garbage can and drop it in there. So let's go get our Type tool now. Click on the T. We're going to come over here and select this right at the end. And you can see I got it on the inside of the L, and I want it out here on the outside of the L. And I've got this line selected. Okay, you can see the line underneath it and the blinking cursor. Now I'm going to click and drag right across that line of type. So the whole thing is selected. Now all I have to do is type in a new name. So I'm going to change it from Northfield to Southfield. Regional Varsity Champs. Now, of course, you say whatever you want. Okay, we've got that. Looking good. Now we have to get out of the type tool. And you can't do that just by using a keyboard shortcut. For example, if I want to use the move tool, I could hit the key V. If I do that, it just types it a V. So I'm going to hit delete to get rid of that. I have to get out of the type tool by actually clicking on one of the tools over here. Okay, we got that done. Now we're going to move to the team name layer. In this case, we have the Jaguars. And I'm going to grab my type tool, click on the T, and just like before, I'm going to come over to the side of the right side, click on it, and this looks good. I do have that type layer selected. I do see the line under my type. I've got a blinking cursor line over here. Great. Now I'm going to click and drag right across the name, and we will change this, in my case, to Cougars. Oops. Excellent. Great. Now we have to get out of the type tool. We do that by coming up here and actually clicking on a tool. That gets us out of the type tool. And now we've got those two layers corrected. Great. So I'm just using the scroll wheel to move on down here to the name. I'm going to select the name in my layers, and I want to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to grab my zoom tool. I will hit Alt or Option. Great. Now I'm going to come over here and hit my type tool. Come to the right side of it. Click on the right side of this eye, and I've got it. I've got it all selected properly. So now I'll click and drag right across the front. Boom. Now I'm going to change the name. Just type in a new name. Okay. And I have to get out of the type tool. So I have to go back up, actually click on a tool in the toolbar. No problem. Now all that's left is the number. So let's click on that 27. I'll go back over and get my type tool. I will click right near that 7, drag across the front, and now all I have to do is hit those new numbers. And I have to get out of the type tool by selecting on a tool. Great. I'm out of the type tool. Very good. So we can see we've already edited all the type. It's looking good. Okay. Next, we're going to change the athlete. So over here in our layer window, select the athlete group. Okay, the athlete group has this athlete above this layer placeholder. Let's scroll down a little bit. We need to zoom out. So let's go over here and get our zoom tool. We're going to change this from a plus to a minus by holding down the Alt or the Option key and click on it a couple of times. I'm using my scroll wheel. There's our athlete placeholder. Great. Now the next thing I want to do is get this move tool that's up here at the top. So now I have my move tool all selected. All right. You'll see that the athlete group layer has this layer mask. Anywhere, any of the items that are inside of this group will be affected by this layer mask. So wherever there's black, you won't be able to see any of the items in the group. If it's white, it will show through. So now we're going to move the athlete that we've already prepared into this group. So you want to make sure that this athlete is selected, this layer, that's all. And we're going to go over here to our athlete. There he is. Okay. Now, let me explain what I'm going to do. I am going to click and drag him up to the 10 football template layer or tab right up here. And then it will change to the template. And then all the while still holding down the left mouse key, kind of drag it down, and then I'll let it go. All right, let me show you how to do this. So we're going to click and drag. You'll see your athlete moving. Bring him up to the template tab. And now I'm going to bring it down, and I'll let it go right here. And you might get a mismatch. Just say OK. And there he is. Okay. And with my move tool selected, I'm just going to click and drag him down into place. Great. Now I'm moving him around. You can see how that layer mask is affecting him. Okay. Anything to the sides, the top, or the bottom can't be seen. And this is primarily done to cut off the athlete at the bottom. All right, now let's get him scaled. Now the easiest way to transform his scale is to hit Command or Control T. So I'm on a Mac, I'm going to hit Command T. And you get this nice little box around him. Grab one of these handles. Here at the top, I'm going to grab this one. And I'm going to just bring this down, and that starts to scale him down. Okay, I'll click and drag him back up. And that's getting real close to the size that I want. Yeah, that's looking great. Very good. Okay, and now to get out of that transform tool, you'll hit return. And he's good. Now if you come over here to the layers, turn off the athlete above this layer. Okay, so now your placeholder's gone. All right, not much longer. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is the logo placeholder. The logo is down here at the bottom. We've got this little placeholder built in here. It's centered. And if you go to your logo, there we go. We're going to do the same process. Click it and drag him up to the template tab, and then drag that down to the area around the placeholder. So click and drag up to the football template tab, and we're bringing this down right to here, and we're letting go. And there it is. Excellent. Now I'm just going to click and drag and try to get this in position better. And now to fine tune that, I can use my right or left or up or down arrows to move him over, maybe move him down a little bit, try to get him a little more centered. I like that. That's just fine. So I'm going to go over here to my logo placeholder, and I'm going to turn that off. All right. Okay. Now we go down to Team Color. Team Color has been designed so that you can easily change the color to match your team's color. So right now it's blue. It's these bands. Okay, it's already set up with a layer mask so that nothing will be affected. You don't have to go in and paint or select anything. All you need to do is select that color layer, and then we're going to pick a color. And in this case, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool, which is over here in my toolbar. I'm going to select that eyedropper tool and click on my logo color. Great. Now you could use colors from the uniform, or you could come over here to the color window. You could pick from colors in here. You could adjust the sliders however you like. I've just used my color picker on the logo, And now I'm going to switch my tools to use the paint bucket. And that's that little paint bucket looking thing. We'll click on that and just bring it over here to the image and click. And that will change all the color. Now, you can change the color to whatever you would like, as many times as you would like. We've tried to keep this very simple. But that has a good look. That's keeping right in with the team's colors. So let's go to our magnifier tool and let's zoom out a little bit. All right, that's looking great. Now, the next steps is we're going to want to save this. And I like to save a copy so that my original template stays the way it originally came, in case I ever want to use it for something else. So I'm going to go to File and go to Save As. Okay, now I am going to call this Cougar Template. Excellent. Now we'll save this. Now, of course, you'd be calling it whatever you want, whatever you need to. Okay, and we can see over here, Photoshop is saving. Okay, when that's done, great. You can see Cougar Template. Now, in order to prepare it for printing, I'm going to want to make a JPEG copy. So I will go to File, Save As, and you can name this or rename it whatever you want. I'm going to keep this as it is for now. And I'm going to change from Photoshop to JPEG. Okay, so I've got it named, got it selected as a JPEG, and it will save. Okay, quality, I always like to keep the quality high. We'll hit OK. All right, and Photoshop is saving, and it is all done. Next step you would do is File and Open. And we're going to open that Cougar Template JPEG. Can't see it, but let me just make this a little smaller. I'm going to go to Open. Okay, I've got my Cougar Template, the JPEG version right here. You can see everything has been put together. There are no layers here. So now we have to prepare it by adjusting the size. So if we go to here up to Image and then Image Size, right now it's 20 by 25. So if you wanted this to print at 8 by 10, you could do that by changing its height to 10. And it's 8 by 10. You would hit OK. If you want to actually print this at 20 by 16, you would put in those numbers and it would automatically change. So depending on your final output, that drives what you're doing here. So in this case, let's say we're going to do a 16 by 20 print, and we're going to hit OK. Photoshop will resize it. And then you're just going to save it. And now this is ready to be sent off to the printer. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope this has been helpful. Please, if there's anything that I can do to make this better, just let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching.